Is fish really that healthy? Hi, my name is Regitze Simonsen. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing, and I also studied vegan nutrition at Stanford University, and I've been vegan for 25 years. So a lot of people think that fish is really the healthiest thing you can eat almost. But is it really that healthy? Actually, fish contains a lot of heavy metals and also other toxins as well as growth hormone. IGF-1, because fish is also an animal, and all animals contain growth hormones as well as human beings also. But fish especially contain a lot of heavy metals, which is very toxic for our body. When people eat the fish, they get the heavy metals, and the problem with heavy metals is that we can't excrete it again, or very, very slowly. It's very hard for us to excrete it, and it makes a lot of damage, especially in our brain. And the reason that fish and also other animals contain so much toxins and also heavy metals is because fish, for instance, they eat other smaller fish, because the fish that we eat normally, that human beings eat, are fish that eat other fish, or they eat smaller fish or shrimps and stuff like that. And all these smaller fish, they also contain toxins and heavy metals, but then when the fish eat a lot of it to survive and grow, then it all accumulates in the fish, and then when people eat the bigger fish, then it gets into the human body, because humans are at the top of the food chain. That's the problem about being on top of the food chain and eating other animals. If we get all these toxins and heavy metals that accumulates in the other animals that the humans eat. And it's actually the same problem with other animals that people eat, like cows and pigs and chickens. They also contain lots of growth hormone because they are animals and they grow, and that causes cancer in human beings. But they also contain lots of toxins and also heavy metals in other animals, other sources of protein like other meats. Because animals, they have to eat 10 times the amount of mostly plant food to produce 1 kilo of meat. So it's very inefficient. For instance, they have to eat 10 kilos of plant food to produce 1 kilo of meat, or 10 pounds of plant food to produce 1 kilo of meat. But actually, it's not only plant food they're being fed, because cows and pigs and chickens, they're being fed so much garbage to keep the cost down. The farmers, they just give them every kind of garbage that is as cheap as possible. And fish also, farmed fish, which is 99% of the fish that you can buy in the stores is farmed fish. They're also being fed all this garbage food that contains leftovers from other animals, actually bone marrow and bone flour, and all these waste products that are not being used for human consumption and not even for cat and dog food. That's being fed back into the animals, the cows and the pigs and fish, and that contains a lot of these toxins and heavy metals. And they're also being fed lots of antibiotics, because they live under such poor conditions that if they weren't getting antibiotics just to prevent disease, they would die, most of them, or the farmers, they would lose so much revenue, because all the animals would die from different diseases, because they live too close together, they have poor conditions, and therefore they get sick all the time. So they give them antibiotics just to prevent disease. And these antibiotics, that's the cause of us having so many resistant bacteria. That's a major problem in the healthcare industry, that we have so many bacteria resistant or antibiotic resistant bacteria that it's getting harder and harder to treat infections. And a lot of people actually die from infections because they can't find an antibiotic that works. We humans, we are constantly trying to come up with new and stronger antibiotics because the bacteria, they develop resistance to it, and they develop this resistance because they are being exposed to a little bit of antibiotics in the fish and in the animals, and then when the people eat it, then they're being exposed to it in a small amount, which is not enough to kill the bacteria, but it's enough to trigger the bacteria to develop a defense mechanism against that antibiotic. So that's why it's a huge problem to use so much antibiotic in the animal industry, and also for human beings. Actually, we can also develop antibiotic resistant bacteria even without eating meat. But 99% of the antibiotic resistant bacteria comes from especially pig farms, because they are also being fed a lot of antibiotics just to be able to survive until they have to be slaughtered. Okay, that was a long rant. Comment below if you have any questions. And but anyway, the conclusion is that fish is no healthier than any other meat, which is all really unhealthy and causes cancer and heart disease and diabetes and all these lifestyle diseases. Actually, a study showed that eating fish raises your cholesterol more than eating red meat. And cholesterol is the main cause of heart disease, which is the biggest killer of human beings. And after that comes cancer. So fish is no healthier than any other meat. The healthiest diet is the natural diet for the human body, which is a plant-based diet. Comment below, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Please share it with friends and family so they can also be healthy. And thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.